sometimes I felt easier to get shot at because you could shoot back. Being an entrepreneur is hard. I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe in it. Like I said, it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Are you in the point where you right now can look and kind of take a step back and breathe a little bit? Or are you guys still on that daily grind where it's like the Zoom calls scheduled for every day at 9 a.m. where it's like, oh, we got fires to put out, boys?
I'm getting up every day, checking the mags, doing a press check, and going out. But we are in that stage of the game. Private Franco is kitting up and going out. It's bourbon combat right now. If 4 broken old dudes from different backgrounds can come together and do this, the young hard chargers out there that are getting out, or maybe they're taking their first job and then they realize, hey, this isn't for me. I want to do X, Y, or Z. Go do it. You get one pass. Go do it.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Rick Franco, Four Branches Bourbon. How are you, sir?
Denny, doing great, man. Thank you for having me on the podcast. This is really, for me, it's a true treat and an honor to be on this podcast. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do it.
Sir, it is my honor. What you have built with your brothers is something more than just a bourbon company. At a time where veteran suicide is at its highest, what you guys are doing through just your media, through everything you put out there, you're signaling that it's okay to be responsible. It's okay to honor your service and honor your time with your friends by cherishing it and coming together and treating something as what it was truly meant to be. Our great-grandfathers always surrounded themselves drinking a bourbon for those special moments or special times. And I think that's what we get when we see your branding and what we see from your team. It's not about going out there full throttle to the bottle. It's about enjoying something. And before we dive into that story, we have to dive into how it came to be. How did 4 guys from different branches coalesce around this one idea of making amazing bourbon?
Yeah, man. Facetiously and jokingly, I'll say it's because one Marine outsmarted the other branches and talked them into it, right? so there's that. But really, the backstory, Denny, and we'll go to the way back, and we'll talk about the origins of why I start Four Branches, why I wrangled in 3 friends from 3 other branches of the military to come on board and do this. You got to go back now 25 years. Right.
Wow.
So 25 years ago, I was a kid from South Louisiana that went to school in Virginia, in Central Virginia. I went to Virginia Military Institute. While I was there, I also enlisted in the Marine Corps. Ironically, I got talked into. It shows you how smart I am. I got talked into enlisting in the Marines because they said it would. 2 good buddies said, "Hey, it'd be fun. You do a couple obstacle courses. You'll have a great time, Rick." I was like, "Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it." Next thing I know, I'm standing on yellow footprints, having a DI scream in my face. I'm going, what the fuck is happening here? So, at school, do the Marine Corps thing. But while I was at school, and back in that day or that time period, it was all guys, right? So naturally, like joining any unit, you become friends with other people. Right? So I became good friends with a buddy of mine, Greg Wright Jr. Greg and I were at school together. I commissioned before him. We were at Lejeune together, both as Marine officers, running around doing what I call dumb second lieutenant shit. Think you got the world by the tail for 4 years. And then I moved on to a B billet back then. I did a B billet down in New Orleans where I ran all the counter narcotics for the Marine Corps Reserves, did all the counter drug missions, JTF-6 missions. At that level. And that kind of leads me how I got into the CIA, and that leads me into Greg's story. So I did that. And it was during that time that, attending a couple Army schools, the first time I'd ever been to a few Army schools, down, behind the fence line, so to speak, over there. And so, I get approached upon graduation of one course, and literally it's like out of a movie back in the 90s. It's like a piece of copy paper with a bunch of numbers written on it. and I didn't know anything about contracting. You know, this is the height of like 2004, height of the war, stuff going on. I'm doing a billet, and it's like back then I was a captain, and they said, "Hey, skipper, you might be good at some of this." I was like, "Good at what? What is this?" And kind of alluded to it. I forget, start dialing. It's like I'm dialing for dollars. I just start dialing a number. Somebody picks up, the guy's in Jordan. He's like, I'm like, "You're in like Jordan, like, the country I'm on." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, look, I'm going to send you this and you go do this." And so it was a whirlwind, man. Next thing I know, I'm at a vetting, uh, not knowing what I'm doing, showed up, spent I think it was probably 2 weeks, two or three solid weeks going through basically a selection, for lack of a better word. They called it vetting back then, but a selection. And even then, at the end of the day, it's like you really didn't realize who you were working for until the very end.
Oh man, it's
So
like
then
straight out of a Tom Clancy novel.
I did my first deployment with them, with the CIA as a contractor in Iraq. Um, a lot of gnarly shit happened. Just it was, you know, I tell people I saw more, and it's just timing. I deployed during the Kosovo campaign. That was my time period. And then I got out, and I saw more things with the CIA than I did with the Marines.
Oh yeah.
Um,
It was a different time frame in those early years of the GWAT in
it,
Iraq.
I tell people all the time, I sit and it blows my mind if we sit and we think about those time periods, there will never be again that type of war in the GWAT in the early days from '02 to '04, '05. That time period will never happen again. The things that we did and could get away with, or
Yeah.
just, it was surreal,
Yeah.
right? It's surreal. You show up in Baghdad and they're flying in a yellow fucking Hummer, like H2. Like, are you guys trying to get us killed? I mean, it's surreal, the things that I sit and I think I saw, or I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But so that leads me into how we started. I did a deployment, a bunch of, you know, crazy shit happened for us. So a bunch of first times within the CIA at where we were.
No.
You know, destroyed a base, left a band, not abandoned, evacuated a base that had never happened before. Pretty interesting to throw 29 thermites into a secure location. Pretty cool to watch that happen. Um,
That
well,
brings to mind a very recent action movie based on real events.
yeah. So, doing those type of things. Anyway, I come back to the States. A little storm called Katrina hits and wipes out my place. And I'm
Oh
waiting for
man.
deployments, but I was in the office uh, probably right before that deployment. And I was helping the ladies in the office go through resumes. They don't know how to read military resumes. Right. And the program we were on, you you couldn't apply on the internet. There was no going to LinkedIn or Indeed and say, "I want to do this." It was like guys handing me a piece of copy paper, like you saying, "Hey man, I got a buddy who's doing this, but here's an email, send your resume to this email." Right. So then I was helping. And I remember clear as day, I was just talking about earlier today, the phone rang. One of the ladies picked up the phone, starts talking, and I'm not paying attention. I'm on the other side of the office, and she's like, "Hey, Rick, there's a guy here says he went to VMI." I'm like, "Okay, give me that shit. Let me go see who this is." Pick up the phone, and it's Greg, right? And we hadn't seen each other since Lejeune, uh, because we used to party together and different units and all that. And so we catch up, hot minute, we catch up. And I said, "Okay, I got you, brother. You're in." Because during that time period, in the '03, '04 time period, you had to be vouched for the most part, right? And it was by reputation. So I vouched for Greg. So then fast forward to December 7th, 2005, Greg goes out to his first mission. And this is all open source now. It's all declassified. Um, Day one, night one, out the wire, does what he was trained to do as a Marine infantry officer. Ground intel officer, same thing, just one more schooling, and trying to do as a CIA protective agent, right? Everybody came home from that mission, but he didn't.
Mm.
He made sure they came home, but he didn't, right? He ended up taking a round to the leg. It was cold. They got in contact.
This episode of Security Halt is brought to you by Dr. Mark Gordon and Millennium Health Store. If you've listened to this show, you know how seriously we take brain health, recovery, and long-term performance, especially for veterans and high performers. Dr. Mark Gordon is one of the leading experts in neuroendocrinology and traumatic brain injury. And he's just released his new book, Peptides for Health. Both the medical edition, Volume 1, and a consumer edition, Volume 1, are available right now. The book breaks down how peptide therapy supports brain health, hormonal balance, recovery, and resilience in a way that's practical and evidence-based. You can get 25% off the book by using code PTH25 at checkout, valid through March 15th. And for Dr. Gordon's proprietary health products, Security Halt listeners can receive 10% off if they use the code PHASE2P. Click the link in the episode description to find out more and visit Millennium Health Store today.
They had to, and everybody can read this on the website. Had to abandon the vehicle, hard point, return fire, suppress fire, waiting for the QRF to come. Which back then, in the days, guys, the QRF's like two other dudes and another Hummer and another Beamer. Pardon me. So did all that, took a round, failed to put a tourniquet on because it's cold. Probably didn't truly feel it, perhaps, and was just paying attention to making sure that the men that he was charged to take care of were going to make it home. And then when, my brothers showed up, he was slumped over his gun, and then he was gone. Right. So then I think it was the same day, stateside, December 7th, I get the phone call, lady in the office crying. I can't understand. I was like, calm down. What's going on? She says, Putty was his call sign. Putty's gone. Putty's gone. And at the time, I didn't realize that he had that call sign. And I was like, who? And she said, Greg. And that just dropped me, bro. So I flew across. I was like, I'll be in DC the next day. I flew literally, my house is in shambles. I'm living in a tent in Louisiana in my front yard. I grabbed my wallet, and I freaking head to the airport, fly to DC, buy a suit, and fly to Germany, and make sure I'm in Germany before he comes home. I meet them in Germany, and then I fly back to Dover to be the presiding officer over him and the 11 other warriors that were coming home that night. So that's now fast forward to 3 years ago, right? That was 20 years ago, just this past December. Fast forward 3 years ago, I'm driving home from work. Denny, I tell people whether they believe me or not, it's the truth. I'm driving home and I tell people, you hear voices in your head right now, guys, gals, everyone out there and podcast line, don't listen to them. 99% of the time it's a bad idea.
I can vouch for that.
but this one said, do a barrel bourbon for the guys on the program, right? Greg was given the first star posthumously on the wall at Langley headquarters, CIA headquarters, which changed policy because before that time, there had been no contractors from that program given him. He was the first. Since that time, there are 5 more guys I either knew personally or knew by reputation. So I'm driving home and it's like, literally, do a barrel bourbon for the guys on the program is what it said, which ironically, because I didn't drink bourbon at the time. I came from a Scotch family. But I thought this can't be hard. And I thought this would be super simple. I can go buy a barrel bourbon. B, I got a pretty good printer. I can get some stickers. And C, bottles got to be cheap. And D, we can sell this on Facebook. I'll sell out in a day and everybody will be happy and it's all good. One flaw in that whole plan. You cannot sell bourbon on Facebook. Uncle Sam will let you know right away. So public service announcement, do not try to do that. That's the Marine in me, right?
I was going to say, that's a Marine's idea right there.
so then I ended up calling Mike Trott, who's our Air Force component. Mike had been a CIA staff officer. I was a contractor. Same division within the agency at different times, but Mike and I had worked together in the civilian world. And I actually knew Mike's son. He was on one of the bases I was at. So I kind of told Mike, hey, this is what I want to do for the guys on the program. Honor this. And then we started talking and we joke. I joke all the time because I love them to death, but I have worked with a ton of these guys. I was like, you know what? Fuck, it's 2022, 21, 22. Everybody needs a Navy SEAL these days. So, so I was like, well, we'll call Harold. And Harold's old school SEAL, 33 years retired command master chief,
Wow.
was in dev group, but the entire time in the teams. So then the three of us got together and the light bulb, we were talking about this, not drinking our bourbon, drinking other bourbon, trying to figure it out. The light bulb went off and we said, shit, one more guy from the Army and we could have 4 guys. So a mutual friend introduced us to RJ. I think you know RJ. Introduced us to RJ and we chat. RJ was on a movie set doing his Hollywood thing. And we talked to him and he's like, I'm in. And then take 4 knuckle dragging warfighters. And it took us like 6 months to figure out the name Four Branches. like,
what should the name be?
yeah. What are we gonna call this? And I got old papers of just different names. What do we call the bourbon? And finally I was like, what about Four Branches? It's, I don't know, Mike or somebody came up. I was like, second light bulb goes off. Yes.
I can only imagine your guys' social media content creator and managers like, all right, we're going to make this up. We're going to say that it was on a hiking trip. You guys were climbing a mountain and the sun came over and you just knew instantly.
Yeah. No, we got together. I was like, 6 months. What are we still calling this company? So, but we started to put it together, Denny, and thank you for the gracious introduction, but we struggled too. Right. And this is where I guess it gets a little deep. We struggled the first 6 to 9 months because we had what I call a crisis of conscience. We had friends take their lives. Right. We see it all the time. Now, it's happened every year to date, and it won't surprise me. It will crush me if it happens this year, but every year I've lost friends. And so we didn't know if we wanted to be a part of an industry that plays a big part. I call it like I see it. Alcohol plays a big part in men and women, whether in or out of uniform. It plays a big part in what I call the fatal decision.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I didn't know, none of us knew, especially me. I didn't know if I wanted to be a part of that. But then we set back for a little bit, about 2 months. Like, what are we going to do? And we really reflected on it. And then I kind of remember something I tell my kids. I got 2 great young boys grown into young men. They're 10 and 12. And that is, if you bring me a problem, I tell them, boys, if you bring me a problem, you got to bring me a solution. Might not work, but you got to bring me something. Don't just come tell me there's something messed up. Tell me what you can do to fix it. And then I was like, that resonated within myself. I was like, we need to do that. Alcohol's not going away, guys. We tried it we tried prohibition, right?
Yeah.
That failed. It's here. Multi-billion-dollar industry. It's staying. So if we're going to go into this, let's not be part of the problem. Let's be part of a new solution, a new narrative. Let's change the narrative, right? Between, the mission of completing the bottle. That's not the mission. Let's take it back. And so that's where we kind of started to come up with, and we came up with ourselves. There was no marketing agency that pitched it or did it. It was, hey, we believe everybody serves something. You and I, we served our country, but everybody serves a community. So on every one of our bottles, we say serve honorably. Because if you serve a community, do so with honor.
Yeah.
And then we say drink honorably. It's not drink responsibly, guys or gals. That's a different message. Very important. But for us, what I wanted to mean, because it was very important and dear to my heart, is that, look, if you're the last one to come home from downrange, do not dishonor the memories of the men and women that didn't make it back. But more importantly, don't dishonor your own memory. You're sitting right here.
Yeah.
Right? Do not do that. So that's why we say, and I believe it, we mean it. Look, we've been there. Quit drinking to forget.
Yes, man.
I want you to sip to remember.
Absolutely.
That is the message. And that sip to remember, I want people to know is not just, we will always sip to remember those that didn't come home. Every one of us, we've got a Greg in our lives. Replace the name Greg with whoever it is. We all have it. We've either lost in combat or whatever it may be.
This episode of Security Halt is brought to you by Dr. Taylor Bosley and Precision Wellness Group. Let's be real. By now, a lot of New Year's resolutions have already fizzled out. Life gets busy, motivation drops, and health ends up on the back burner. But here's the truth. There's no better time to start than right now. Precision Wellness Group specializes in hormone optimization and hormone health, delivering personalized care and treatment right to your door. If you've been dealing with low energy, brain fog, poor sleep, or stalled performance, hormone imbalance may be the missing piece. Dr. Taylor Bosley and his team take a data-driven, individualized approach to help you get back to operating at your best. Security Halt listeners receive 25% off their initial consultation when they use Security Halt 25 at checkout. Click the link in the episode description to find out more and get started today.
That we will always do. But how about take a minute and sip to remember two guys getting together on a podcast for the first time, brothers in arms. Sip to remember your son's first baseball game, your daughter's wedding, change of command, you name it. Pick the moment. And that's equally as important.
Absolutely.
And
Rick,
that is our message, man. That's our North Star, right?
Yeah.
That's how we came together. Greg and his sacrifice for me is always for our company. That is our North Star. And our sip to remember is our azimuth that we're on. And that keeps us, that's our moral compass, man. That's how we continue to run this business.
Man, you're hitting on something that gets me fired up, because that gives everybody room at the table to celebrate. Everybody.
That's right.
I've made it known. I didn't slip into full addiction, but when I was at my worst, when I was struggling with my demons, I rationalized and made it part of my nightly routine because it helps me sleep. And then it quickly became, well, it helps me relax. And it became it does this and this. How many of our friends have we lost because of that slippery slope? And because I caught on to it early, and I made the conscious decision of understanding that it was never something that I developed on my own. Drinking became part of my life because of, I was a kid playing football, and then we drank after the game, and then I joined the military, and then in 82nd, I felt like I was somebody when we drank together and we celebrated. But I always took it one step further. I had to have 2 drinks. I had to be the guy that was completely blasted because I felt more comfortable, and I dealt with anxiety with alcohol. So I made a conscious decision for me not to drink. But I always tell people, you need to make the decision for yourself. And nothing's worse than being the guy that doesn't drink, being around a bunch of people that are just slamming them back and then constantly pressuring you. Come on, just drink, just drink. The message that you're sending and the clear line that you've drawn brings people like me into the fold to say, absolutely, that's what I want to be a part of. If I go somewhere with my brothers and we're going to celebrate something, a meaningful day, a celebration of life, I want people to be able to drink it and honor the moment. Just like our grandfathers, great grandfathers, the old style of man culture, not this new thing that was pushed on us. It's relatively new to be like, drink to excess, drink to the point where you can't remember. No, that's not the reality. We should honor those precious moments. And if you want to, break open some Four Branches Bourbon and celebrate with it.
100%.
Forget.
That is my goal. Like, to me, that is one of my, I guess, key indicators of success for the company.
Yeah.
Someone breaks it open at a wedding to do a toast. You do a toast. We just did a toast at Greg's 20th year reunion with Four Branches at a funeral. You do these things, these moments. You couldn't say it any better. And what I tell people, look, if you don't drink, and this is coming from a guy that owns an alcohol company, right? With my brothers. If you don't drink, don't start. If you're sober, stay sober. But you have a seat at our table. I've got investors in this company that don't drink. They went sober, right? Bourbon was their demon. But the fact that they're invested, meaning they put money into this company, is because of the message.
Yes.
right? It's almost an oxymoron when you think about it, right? Like, I'm sober, I'm recovering. Why would I invest in something that may have caused me emotional and mental pain? That was a part of that was a trouble in my life. It's because we're changing the message. And that's to your point, you know, if if you're going to go out and say, I'm getting Four Branches and we're going to slam it tonight, don't buy our bottle. It's not for you. But if you say, hey, I'm going to remember Fred, John married Jane, or my son was born today.
Yeah.
This is it. Please, please. And, we all agreed when we started this company at Four, said, not only were we going to change the message, we're going to give back to the community that we came from. So, that's very important to us. Yes, we got to sell a bottle, because if we don't sell the bottles, then we can't do the give back. And that's really, we've been blessed, Denny, by that. I mean, honestly, I never saw this coming, man. Law of unintended consequences. We never saw this coming. I mean, people have asked, hey, can you send us a bottle of this for this fundraiser, this auction? We get hit all the time. And majority of the time we say, yeah. So in 2 years, those bottles have auctioned off at different events for over $600,000. I mean, you know, uh, we,
Try to
we,
make me swear I'm a Catholic man here, Rick. Come on.
but brother, we did, there was a bottle that we did for, I think they changed the name, but it was Special Forces Charitable Trust.
Yeah. SF
Uh,
Trust. Yeah.
yeah, SF Trust. RJ and I went last year, and we had a bottle paired with a flag, and he jumped the bottle in. That whole thing went for close to 30. And I think we had one, he was at one several months ago, high 20s. It's a message, man. I mean, and we're honored because they could take something else, but it's what we do. It's our give back, and it's our message.
Yeah. And like I said before, when we started recording a couple tries before, it is a difficult thing to tread. It is a difficult thing to go into this market space, to bring four brothers together from all different branches and say, we're not going to market this like the traditional way. We're going to stand on our own, and we're going to say, we want you to drink this in small moments of victory and celebration. Where if you did it the other way, if you just marketed it with adrenaline and pushing it towards people, you'd make more money. But what gets us hyped as veterans and service members that are aware, that are conscious about what's happening in our community, in our warrior tribe, is when somebody says, hey, we know as Americans, this is going to be part of the system. This is going to be part of our American way of life. People are going to drink. We're going to message it and sell it completely different. And we see it, we feel it. And I know you probably get the comments, and you probably talk to a lot of people throughout your day, but it is remarkable to see you guys take the stance
Thank you.
where anybody else would say, fuck it, I'm going to make fast money. You're willing to say, no, we have to
No,
draw the line.
100%, because it's not what it's about. Yeah, it's a business. I got to make money, right? We got to
Yeah.
make money to keep the lights on and do what we're doing. I'll never say not. I mean, otherwise we'd be a nonprofit, right? But that doesn't work either, right? If we're going to be impactful, we're going to do it the way we see fit, right? If we're going to make the impact, it's going to be because, to your point, and it's counterintuitive, right? But we're going to stand by that. Like, hey, you know what? We believe in this. I believe in this so much. We believe in it so much that it will sell. People will buy it, and they are, right? And yeah, we got to move it. I trust me, I need to move it, because then we can't get back 4%,
Yeah.
right?
That's
So
incredible. 4%.
4% of our gross off the top.
That is
So
awesome.
that is really important to us, man. And that's what I think. And we want people to connect with it, right? We want people to know the origin story, because we all have them. And at the end of the day, This is not a bourbon that's a Rick, Mike, Harold, and RJ. This bourbon, when we can transition it, this becomes the Warrior Tribe version bourbon. This becomes I'm the E5 walking in to class 6. That's my bourbon. Right? That represents me because all 4 branches, great. I understand, guys, there's Coast Guard and Space Force, right? So I get that. But if we just came up that way, man. So it's like, I want, at the end of the day, this to be the bourbon of the military and of the veterans. And I don't care what branch you were in. We say 4 branches, pick your branch. Pick your branch, right? I just didn't serve with any Space Force guys because they didn't exist at the time. And there were, love my Coast Guard brothers and sisters, but I didn't see you guys in the deserts of Kandahar.
Yeah. There's still room at the table for you.
There's still room at the table. Absolutely. 100%. I mean, look, we embrace it all, right?
Yep.
If you're part of the Warrior Tribe, and if you served in the military or first responder, you're part of that tribe.
Yep.
Right.
So Rick, I got to ask you though, you can't just come into the market and just push any sort of bourbon out there and think it's going to sell. Like, how did you guys come up with the idea, and where did you, like, who was the bourbon entrepreneur, or the fashion, the one that was the most, I would say, fanatical about bourbon tasting and understood what needed to go in it? Because it's got to be a complex situation to try to create something like a good tasting bourbon that sets itself apart from everything else that's out in the market. How'd you guys come up with that?
2 parts to that answer. One, none of us, we didn't realize what we were getting into, right? Me as a Marine, I was just probably too freaking stupid to realize. I don't know what the Air Force guy's issue was, but I can tell you that was mine, right? Too stupid, too stubborn. We chose to enter, ironically, probably what is the most difficult industry in the United States, one of them, from a legality standpoint, right? A legality and regulation. Alcohol is regulated heavier than weapons, than guns. It's easier to be a gun manufacturer than it is to be an alcohol manufacturer. So we entered the most complex industry I think we could have entered, because every state has a different regulation.
That's right. Yeah.
The federal regulation, the state regulation, it's massively complicated. And look, I learned a lot in 2 years, but we didn't know a thing about it. But what we did know how to do, right? We all came from either Mike and Harold and RJ's case, special operations background. Mike and I from the intelligence side of the house. We do know, and you'll get this being SF, you do know that we knew the resources to tap into, or where to go find those resources, and then take that intel, digest it, and produce something that we can go with. And that's kind of what we did. So I sought out through cold calls. I ended up finding, and a lot of this is luck too, guys. And luck and the guiding hand from upstairs. I ended up connecting with the largest bourbon broker at the time in the world. Cold call. I call this guy, and now he's an investor in the company. And one of our senior advisors, I call this guy, Jeff, and I was like, because I got his name from another person. So once again, here's a piece of paper copy, and I'm going down numbers. And I call, and I kind of introduce myself. Hey, I'm Rick Franco. This is what I kind of got, what I'm doing. And I think I have this great idea. And, coming from the military and spending time in the CIA, it's, everything's siloed, right? You got your little rice bowl, you got your little silo, compartmentalized, right? That's how we operate. So I said, I got this great idea, but I'm going to send you an NDA before we talk. And he goes, yeah, I don't do NDAs, so we can end it right now. And I was sitting in the same office. I was like, you know what? It's Tuesday. We don't do NDAs on Tuesday either. So next thing I know, he lives here in Nashville. He invites Mike and I to his house. Doesn't know us, never met us. I'm like, this guy's crazy. He don't know who we are. We sit us down at his dining room table, and for 2 hours, he tries to talk us out of doing this.
Oh, wow.
Like, he gives us 2 hours, and like I said, Marine, too dumb, too stupid to hear it. We walk away going, "Oh, that was good, but let's go do this." Um, and then he said, "Okay, if you guys are gonna do this, and I'm gonna suggest you go to Bardstown Bourbon Company and go visit with those guys." So we, assembled the Avengers, so to speak, blew the horn, and Harold and RJ came in. And imagine getting 4 guys. We all have our taste, and I wasn't the biggest bourbon guy. Mike probably was the biggest bourbon drinker, and it wasn't Harold or RJ or myself, but getting the 4 of us together, and we're at Bardstown up in their lab with their blenders, trying to figure out, first of all, you got 4 alpha males trying to figure out what profile you like, what works, what doesn't work. We're tasting it. And another bit of like happenstance luck, just like getting a call with Jeff, who was the largest bourbon broker in the world. They say, "Hey guys, Steve Nally is going to come in." We're like, "Steve who?" I was like, "Oh, Steve Nally's a master distiller. He's also 40 years Hall of Fame bourbon legend. He and his wife started the Bourbon Trail. He was a master distiller at Maker's Mark for 30 years. He's been there." So, and they say, "Hey, he likes to come by and say hello to all the clients." Because we're in this laboratory, like a chemical laboratory, right? With different samples and glasses. And he walks in, and we must have been giving each other shit like we do all the time when we're together. And he's like, "Who are you guys?" So we tell him who we are and what we're trying to do. And we actually have it all on film. We're lucky with that aspect. He looks at his assistant and says, "Hey, clear the schedule." Steve's probably 6'5", 6'6", lanky, in his mid to late 70s at the time. Pressed jeans, white crisp button down shirt, rolls up his sleeves, looks at us and goes, "Boys, let's make some bourbon." And it was actually Steve who helped us, credit us with, he's like, "You guys are Four Branches. Why don't we go with a 4-grain bourbon? Why don't we add wheat?" And we're like, that actually makes a lot of sense. There's 4 of us, 4 grains. We can also now say 1 grain to represent each branch of the military. So we liked it. And we blended, we tried it, and man, Steve gets it all. He had to go get other bourbon from another warehouse and gets this jar, and they're mixing the ratios, and they said, "We've got it. Gentlemen, we'd like you to try this." And we're like, wow. And we're all in a line. It's Harold, it's myself, it's Mike, and it's RJ. And across the table is Dan Calloway, who's the blender, and Steve. And so they give us this thimble, Denny. It's like man. They hand it to Harold. And Harold's looking at it, looks at all this, goes, "Guys, this smells really good." And we're like, "Oh man, can't wait. Next thing you know, the Navy SEAL goes,
Of course.
and Steve and Dan, their eyes get as big as saucers. They spent like an hour plus doing this. And Harold's like, he looks at us, he goes, and he's got this great North Carolina accent. He goes, "Guys, that's some good shit." And we're like, "Harold, we wouldn't know." And then Mike's like, "Damn it, Harold." He's like, "Got your t-shirt. Damn it, Harold." So they had to go back. They had to recreate it. and we tasted it. And then it came out to be this right here, which is our Founder's Blend. And we captured, we're so blessed from a taste standpoint, lightning in a bottle. We really captured some special.
Heck yeah.
And it's proven because it appeals to so many different people as far as profiles.
Stories shape culture. They build trust. And when they're told the right way, they move people to action. That's what we do at Security Halt Media. We don't just produce content, we create authentic, impactful, and purpose-driven storytelling for podcasters, nonprofits, brands, and leaders who are on a mission. For people who've lived real experiences and want their message to actually matter. From podcast production and video to strategic storytelling and distribution. We help you clarify your voice, elevate your brand, and connect with the audience you're trying to serve. If you have a story worth telling and a purpose behind it, Security Halt Media is here to help you tell it the right way. Click the link in the episode description to learn more today.
And that's kind of how we came together, right? That's how it started. Now, since then, I've learned a lot with my palate, and I go to every bottling. I taste it before it goes in the bottle on mass production on every one.
Oh, wow.
We're one of the very few. They say we're one of the very few brands, if not the only brand they've ever seen, where we are there the day of bottling every time. We've done 5 bottlings to date since we started, and we taste it because, man, one is it's our names on the package, so to speak. It's like our names are behind it. But then, to the earlier point, a more somber point, like this represents to me the names of those that aren't here. So it's got to be exceptionally good. So
Yeah.
that's, I hope that answered your question, and you can
Oh,
all take
100%.
it.
That
Well,
was
damn it, Harold.
that's incredible. The attention to detail, it's, I mean, just from watching different documentaries and different things, it the process is volatile. You have to have people that know what they're doing. Otherwise you're just guys making moonshine. And the
Well,
fact that you
absolutely. And you think about it, if you don't know really what you're doing and you go the full length, let's say you wait 4 years, you could have, you know, cat piss that comes out of that barrel, and you've spent 4 years and money on that. So you got to get it
yeah,
right?
you
Otherwise,
know,
that's not going to work.
it's yeah, exactly. And the one thing that you alluded to that a lot of people don't understand, like I always advocate for our veterans during their transition to look at being an entrepreneur, look at being a business owner. Certainly not suited for everybody. Not everybody's going to want to stay up and grind and hustle. But when we see successes like Four Branches, we tend to forget that behind all that success, behind the media campaigns, there's a lot of friggin' endless nights where you guys are brainstorming. There's a lot of hard work that goes on in the background. And I probably already know the answer to this. Are you in the point where you right now can look and kind of take a step back and breathe a little bit? Or are you guys still on that daily grind where it's like, the Zoom calls scheduled for every day at 9 a.m. where it's like, oh, we got fires to put out, boys.
Well, brother, I'm kitting up every day. I'm kitting up every day, checking the mags, doing a press check, and going out.
Hell yeah.
We are in that stage of the game. Now, I want to get back to a stage where I can sit back with a cup of coffee, pretend to be an officer again, and go, looking good. Move that shit over there, do that. But no, Private Franco is kitting up and going out. It's we are in that. It's bourbon combat right now, especially in the industry. But I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe in it, right? It's hard. I'll tell you, like I said, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. I joke, and I don't want anybody to take it the wrong way because I just don't. But sometimes I felt easier to get shot at because you could shoot back. This is tough. Being an entrepreneur is hard, but we hope that we're an example. Look, I'm the baby of the group at 53, right? It goes from 53 to 64, I think Harold is. If 4, broken old dudes from different backgrounds can come together and do this, the young hard chargers out there that are getting out, or maybe they're taking their first job and then they realize, hey, this isn't for me. I want to do X, Y, or Z. Go do it.
Yeah.
You get one pass
Yeah.
around the sun. Go do it.
Well, it's important to see it that, you know, to pull back the curtain, pull back the layers and see that it's still a worthy cause, that it's still a day-to-day endeavor. There's individuals out there that can, bring something out of just the thought process and bring it into the market, bring it out in the full production and be set for life. But for a vast majority of people, even when you think they're 100% successful, even when you think that they're off, drinking and under an umbrella and on the beach, the reality is you have to be grateful for the hard work. You got to fall in love with the process and you got to understand every little win is worth savoring. And every day that you stay up at 2 a.m., you got to be grateful for that because you prayed for it. At some
Yeah.
point, you prayed for that and God's delivering it.
100%, and it made me think of it. One of the things that I think we and I say we, like the warrior tribe, because I love you using that word, struggle with when we leave service is just that, service, act of service, staying connected to whatever brotherhood or tribe you're a part of, right? Doing this has allowed the four of us to stay connected. I talk to guys that I served with in the Marine Corps, that I served with in the agency, uh, daily because of the bourbon, because of this. For me, for us, we are still serving honorably because that's who you become. That's who you are. It's who we are wired to be. I've been very blessed and fortunate to be part of and tied into the special operations world, the agency intelligence world, the shadowy elements. I've been very blessed to be, have touched that, so to speak, pierce that veil, because it's a very small, tight knit community, right? We're all 1 degree of separation from somebody. RJ. RJ's my business partner, right? And I'm sure Dagan. Dagan and I serve together, right? So it's that, but once again, Four Branches for us and doing what we're doing allows us to serve. So if you're an entrepreneur out there, I would dare say, if you find something you're passionate about, that you're serving about, you have a better odds of being successful. No guarantee, but you have a better odds than if you're out there just to chase a dollar.
Yes. Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, that
That's
that
why it's
that
so
will fail.
important. Yeah.
Chasing the dollar will ultimately fail.
Yeah.
Right. Been there, done it. Like, so I speak from experience.
Those are the real lessons that matter, though. I tell people, even if you fail, this is not my concept. This came from a better man, a better commander from A17, um, Aaron Bush, one of the best commanders I ever had the pleasure of having in my time in service. But one thing that he changed, he's remarkable. He changed our culture and gave us something that we didn't have before he got there. And it's still the same. The mission statement still hangs as you enter the battalion, but he talked about failing fast, failing forward. If you're out in this space, man, understand you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. 2025, I failed a lot. 2026, I'm probably going to fail some more. But for all of you out there that think that this is easy and that you see the memes, the posts, oh, it's got to be easy life. No, and I don't want you to get that idea, but I want you to understand that for every hard lesson learned, I was able to take that. And I guarantee it's the same for you, Rick. You have a catalog of all the things that didn't go right, that didn't work out, and then that helps you refine.
Yeah, and you have to do it, right? You have
Yeah.
to do it. Speaking in military terms, I got to do it to build my battle plan. Right?
Yeah.
I know that, like, okay, well, we shot those rounds downrange, and there was no effect on target.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, unlike the military or in the world I was in, I could just go get more bullets. This equates to shit. I shot a lot of money, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
Harder to go get more money. I wish I had money like I had bullets back in the day.
You and me both.
It'd be a lot simpler. But you have to have that. You have to go through that to understand, and it does make you a better person.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that. Fail fast, fail forward. I love that. That is huge.
Yeah. It's helped me a lot. I didn't understand how much it would come in play post-military. Again, where you're at, sir, you made a huge impact on a lot of us, and that information stayed with me, and I've utilized it. I'm able to continue this and grow this business because, yeah, we're going to make mistakes. You have to iterate. You have to continue pushing forward. Version 1.0 probably, isn't going to work for you. Redefine, rewrite that plan of action, get the version 2 out there, but do it fast. Fall in love with it. And I tell you, follow the companies like Four Branches, follow Rick, follow these guys that are out there. And the most important takeaway that I want to share with you is the audience listening at home is don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to get out there and try something new. I can only imagine the fear of presenting this plan to your wife in the initial concept.
brother. And it's like, what? You're doing what? A bourbon? Excuse me? Now, luckily, once again, maybe it's my charm. I don't know. But I talked her into the company. She is the director of operations, and honestly, anybody who's ever flown in a helicopter, you wonder how the thing stays in the air. You're looking at 1,000 pieces going in different directions that move.
Yep.
There's a mystical force, I'm convinced of it, that holds it together. That's her within the company.
Yeah. I convinced my wife to come on board as well for finances because I will be honest, I don't like math. And
I'm a
after
Marine. Was lucky to get 2+2.
after the first year having to do my books, I quickly realized that was not going to be something I continued.
But
So,
that's our superpower, right? That's our superpower to understand to self-recognize what you don't know and go seek out the source to do it. We did that in the military all our lives. Like, I don't know who the tribal chief is, but I can't win that. Let me go find out who does this.
Yeah. One thing that I do want to, ask you and bring into the forefront of it is this life of creating something bigger than yourself with a big mission, with lots of, you have great ambition to bring all this stuff out into fruition. It can quickly become the most important focal point of your life. How have you been able to balance being a man of family, being somebody that puts the family first, taking care of the kids? What are some things that you've established and built into your daily structure to make sure that you are able to put, yourself, your family, and being somebody that's present rather than letting it become an obsession?
Hey, Denny, you're hitting something very, very true, very personal. And it for sure in 23 and probably part of 24, I failed at that. Absolutely. Because it does become all encompassing. Right. And so what I've done and what I would tell people is, one, you have to have the discipline to remember family first always. Right. So for me, it's, hey, after a certain time of night, I'm done. It's off. First, take care of your health. I mean, I'm in a sling right now because of rotator cuff surgery, but I still get up and do the bike. First thing in the morning, don't check your phone. I do not look at my phone first thing. I
Ooh,
it
that's
is.
good.
I won't look at until I'm done with PT and I've had a cup of coffee. And it's learning, like, Jen and I, we talk about it because it's very easy for us to talk nothing but work, right? We got two wonderful boys in practice. So it's like, hey, you know what? At this time of night, we are not talking about Four Branches. It is not happening. Don't look at the phone, turn it off. Because if we weren't owners and we were just worker bees in some corporation, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Right. So we've had to have, you have to set, I guess what I'm trying to say, you have to set personal boundaries, and you have to have the discipline to stick to it, to remember, hey, whether this rises or sinks, the only people that are always going to be there for me are my family. So you have to be there for them. And that is hyper important for us.
Yeah. You hit on something that I talk about a lot. And again, looking through that veil, be completely honest. Like, you're going to fail at this. I failed at this. The number one thing I did for my board, my whiteboard, it's an old warrant officer. I got like 15 whiteboards. You got to plan. You got to write it all
You
out.
have them up there, brother.
Number one thing I did for this next year was reorganize and restructure all my contracts, for the simple fact that you're not paying for all of my life, for all of my time. And you got to be able to put your family first. Like, there's nothing worse than being a spouse to somebody that's addicted to this, for their work, for everything.
100%. And I've been guilty of it.
Same here.
Right. Horribly guilty, but recognize it, fail fast, and be like, okay, here's the simple things I'm going to do. Not look at my phone in the morning. Wait till I'm after the first cup of coffee and worked out. And same thing at night, certain time of night. I don't care how many times my phone dings with stupid texts of people talking.
Yeah.
It's not critical. It's critical to call me. Right.
Yeah.
So, I totally get, because I'm not only juggling this, I got to juggle a day job
Oh man.
and 2 kids in every sport.
Yeah, that's the reality of it. That's there's a big sacrifice, but it brings to mind something that a recent guest, Lucas Simoner from vetclaims.ai, great entrepreneur, great source of I mean, the guy drops these little pearls of wisdom that are just you know the he did it to me last year. He defined something for me that stayed with me for the entire year, and then he was one of my first guests for this year. And he said something that I'm now going to be echoing for probably the next 200 episodes.
Lay it on me.
Don't chase harmony. I'm sorry, don't chase balance. Look for harmony. Don't try to balance life. Look for harmony. Because I was killing myself trying to balance everything out in this idea, reading in several different books of like balancing work life, being the best father, I'm going to fail. I'm going to have to stay up late. I'm going to have to prioritize this at night so I don't miss out dinner. But harmony, if I'm willing to stay up and burn the midnight oil for this project, but you best believe that I got to take a couple days to get back in sync and get back to a good sleep plan. Because if my heart gives out, if I run myself into a heart attack, then who's here to take care of my family? Who's here to raise my daughter? That's right. There's only one of me. So if I can't prioritize my health and find ways to bring harmony into my life, then I'm going to fail the mission. So number one goal is not to fail the mission.
Yeah.
So
Dude,
find
that's deep.
harmony.
I'm going to be stealing that one. Find balance. Don't chase balance, seek harmony.
Yeah.
Because you're 100% right, man. I mean, same thing. I'm trying to balance it all. I'm realizing that this is really resonating with me because I'm like, to your point, well, I don't want to miss dinner, so I'm going to stay up till midnight.
Yeah.
And then work out, and I'm trying to be there for my wife. Or you know what? I'll take Will to practice tonight. So
Yeah.
it's just it becomes this juggling game, which is eventually is unsustainable because you're not going to ever achieve balance.
Yep.
So you got to find the harmony to make it all work together.
Yeah. Like tomorrow I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to do my gym routine. I know I have to get up at 4. So that means I got to go to bed at 8.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go to Costco tomorrow with my wife. So that means that I'm going to have to bust my ass in a really hard, high interval intensity training so I can go into the office real quick and knock out what I need to knock out, and then be able to go spend a day with my wife at Costco because we're a boring old couple. That's our thrill ride. That's our date. Go to Costco
Dude,
together.
we can go on double dates. You're speaking our language.
But just previous year, I would say, I can't take a day off in the middle of the week. I got to do X, Y, and Z. Where there's will, there's a way. You find it. And I'm speaking to all you business owners, budding entrepreneurs, veteran entrepreneurs, business owners. If you're listening, don't start this new year off thinking that you're failing. No, it's a complex job. It's a complex mission. Find your wins, celebrate them, and figure out how to find the harmony, not the balance in this. You can do it. We can all succeed in 2026.
100%. Because look, I hear it all the time. Oh, you're grinding. If you think of the definition of grinding, that means you're eroding away.
Yes.
Don't erode yourself into nothing because there'll be nothing left. So
Yep.
don't grind. Find a way to sharpen.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, Rick, before I let you go, I got to tap in to see what's next. What's coming down the pipeline? There's an idea that everybody has to be in every space or marketable in everything. What are you guys like pushing for in the new year? And are you going to branch out into anything else?
Great questions, Danny. So what we have coming up in 26 is we've got something special coming out for the 250th birthday of our country. We did one last year for 250th birthday of the Army, the Navy, and the Marines. So there's that new product will be limited coming out.
Oh, wow.
We may extend into some new markets, but
nice.
Really, that's a financial decision. If we can get the dollars we are out there, I mean, full disclosure, guys, I'm very open book. We're raising money, right? We're in a Series A. We're trying to raise money because we've got to get to the next level. So that's the big thing I'm chasing this year is trying to secure that. But to dominate our, like a bad word, dominate the markets we're in, dominate our battle space and go deeper,
Yep.
right? There are a lot of people, like we're in Florida, we're in 7 markets: Maryland, DC, Virginia, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Arizona. There's still a ton of people in all the markets that don't know Four Branches. So the goal is, the more people that hear about Four Branches, maybe they get interested. Hope you go buy a bottle for that special occasion. And then that allows us to continue to support those organizations that we need to support. That's the goal.
Absolutely.
That's
That's
that's what's on the horizon with us, right? Get to
yep.
go deep. Don't go wide, go deep into the markets. A couple new special releases coming out. We've had a lot of success with what I'll call budding success with unit barrels.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
we got units, and people can look me up on off your website. You're interested, come talk to us, because we do that for units.
I might have to get you connected to some people. I got an idea. I won't tell
Yeah,
you guys. You'll get briefed about this later on if it goes to fruition.
yeah,
It's
that's
just a me and Rick conversation.
that's GLG9 clearance. Only if you're part of the Acme Corporation.
Rick, I can't thank you enough for being here today, brother. What you guys have built in our building is, I mean, it's awesome. It's remarkable. I love the media behind it. I love the marketing behind it. And for you to allow us to take a peek behind the curtain and see what it's really like. It's easy to stay mysterious. It's easy to say, "Oh no, we got it all figured out. We're Four Branches Bourbon. Look, we got RJ jumping out of helicopters, airplanes, making movies." But the reality is that maybe it's years, maybe it's a couple more years before it's so well established that Rick doesn't have to answer his phone in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
And RJ can make an entire movie based on this.
exactly.
But
That's
it's
that's
awesome to
what our
see the
goal.
success. It's awesome to see that. And for me as a solo entrepreneur, I love seeing the teamwork. I love seeing brands like yours, guys like Triple Nickel that are out there with an entire ODA. You can literally build something with your teammates and take it to market. And I'll tell you right now, if you're a veteran out there in any space, in any market, people want to see what you have. People want to rally behind you. They want to support you. They want to buy your stuff. So please don't hold it in. Start writing it out. Start writing out that business plan. Start writing it out on the whiteboard. I don't care how you do it. Some of the coolest stories I've heard are 2 veterans that came together to build a clothing brand, and they first started sketching it out on a napkin. That's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, that is awesome.
And every veteran out there, guys, you have resources. Reach out to
Yep.
guys like Denny, myself. Reach out to your peers that are doing it. I'm happy to tell you what we do. I mean,
Yep.
that people should understand. Audience should. I hope they understand. They have a resource within their own networks.
Yes.
Lean into it.
Yeah, I do it. Here's the fact. If you're launching a podcast, I will give you every tool, every resource to shortcut your time from first episode to your 200th. Why? Because your success is my success. I don't see it as a competition. Some people do. That's just kind of fucking weird. I
Yep.
don't. If I make it easier for you to get to 300 episodes, fuck yeah. You win, I win. Because look, for the past 20, well, for some of you guys, 30 years, you've been in the military. You served through arguably one of the worst, most just fucking hellacious times in the GWAT. It was very difficult. There's a lot of deployments that are year long. I know. 82nd guy. I went through them. And you deserve success. As you're transitioning, as you're getting out of the military, be willing to bet on yourself. And maybe it's not going into the entrepreneurial space. Maybe it's going back to school. Maybe it's going to voc rehab and going to a trade school. But be willing to bet on you. Rick, again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being on this mission. But one more thing, where can people get a hold of you? Where can they go to purchase this awesome bourbon? And what are your social media links?
Right on. So thank you, first of all, Denny. So everyone out there, go to www.four. You got to spell it out, FOUR branches.com. And if you go there, there's a find locally tab. Punch in your zip code, it'll let you know. We are available. If we're not in your state, we're available in 41 states online. We will ship to you through our
Nice.
third party. So you can get it there. Follow us at fourbranches.com on Instagram. We're on Instagram and Facebook and
Heck yeah.
LinkedIn. We haven't hit Twitter or TikTok. That's not our space.
You don't need it. You don't need
You can
it.
follow there. I think my Instagram is Rick030295 on Instagram.
Heck
You can
yeah.
hit me up there if you guys got questions.
Yeah, and Rick, again, thank you so much for being here. Everybody out there, thank you all for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Season fucking 8. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Thank you all for being here. But most importantly, thank you for taking care of each other. And we'll see y'all next time. Till then, take care. Boom.